What's up, y'all? And of course, welcome to another alternative factuals video. So today's video is very interesting. This is gonna be a little different. Usually I talk about superheroes. I don't do too many villains. The last villain, I think, or technically anti-hero, whatever you want to call him, was basically a Red Lion from DC Comics. Well, we have another one from DC Comics, and this is quite a doozy. So, I'm going to be talking about Superman Harvey Dent. He is overwhelmingly powerful, and he technically is this kind of tyrannical hero kind of situation he got going on, but I don't know. I'm reading his power set and it's out of control. And I don't even know how he lost the battle that he supposedly lost, especially I read it after I found out kind of a little bit more about him. I'm just like, how did he lose? But anyways, that's besides the point. Before we dive into this video, please be sure to like, share, and of course subscribe. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you're feeling. And without further ado, let's kind of just dive directly into this video right here. So Harvey Dent was actually born in response to this organization called Nightwing that was created on Earth 9. They were basically trying to experiment, kind of create these superhumans, but unfortunately, due to this serum that was created, it sounds a little bit like the super soldier serum in a sense. A lot of the people who took the serum or took this kind of formula kind of mutated. So the same can be said about Harvey Dent's parents. Well, I would say mostly his father, where his father took the pill, but obviously got someone else pregnant, which was his mother, and then ultimately the father is presumed dead. We never got any confirmation absolutely that his father was dead, but ultimately the mother died giving birth to him. Now when he was born, supposedly, everyone in the room in the organization had guns pointed to him just in case he came out to be this violent mutant child. But I guess fortunate for him, he actually ended up kind of being born as a regular 9-pound baby. Nothing, I guess, he wasn't violent by nature. So ultimately, Harvey Dent grows up and we find out that he has a crazy amount of power. He can pretty much adapt to anything. His agility is off the charts. He has a danger sense. He can control electricities. He can control emotions. He has this empath kind of ability, fire control, force fields, healing. By the way, he's insanely rich, just so people know. Massive intellect, invulnerability. He can levitate. He has longevity, post-cognition, precognition, psionic abilities, psychic abilities, psychometry, radar sense, siphoning abilities, siphoning life force abilities, crazy amounts of stamina, super hearing, super sight, super smell, technopath, telekinesis, telepathy, and the ability to teleport. Jesus Christ. And what makes all of these powers even more worse is that these are the powers that he just granted to himself. So his primary ability, his primary function is the fact that he can adapt. But it's not like Darwin from Marvel Comics adapt, where he doesn't have any control, and then eventually whenever his body deems that he doesn't need those abilities, he'll kind of revert to his primary form. No. This dude, once he adapts, I mean, he's able to not only adapt, right, but he can adapt himself at will, meaning he can choose to keep evolving. And then once he allows himself a certain incubation period, about 24, 48 hours, whatever the case may be, he can evolve and obtain a different set of abilities on top of the abilities that he already had. So it's out of control what this version of Superman or tangent Superman can do. And he is a black man. This is a black version of Superman whose name happens to be Harvey Dent, who we know from, obviously Batman. So this is literally one of the most powerful versions of any Superman to kind of walk DC Comics, because there's no limitations to his powers. Even his defeat was more of an emotional defeat when he found out the woman that he loved actually didn't die. She actually ended up surviving, and then she took the pill that he gave her. in order to kind of become like him. She wasn't as powerful as him, but it was more of an emotional and mental defeat rather than just a physical kind of defeat in this situation. But he can keep adding powers to his abilities. He can live forever. He can have any power under the sun. No amount of energy, no ability is not accessible to him. He can do everything and anything he wants to do as long as he wills it for himself. He can see everything in the present, past, and future. He's literally, this is what this is out of control. This is a character where his powers are pretty much like in the same realm of abilities as like Dr. Manhattan that we saw in like Doomsday Clock, where Dr. Manhattan, even his abilities were limited in the sense where he can see the past, present, and future all at the same time, but he couldn't really control that. That's just how he perceived time at all times. Some would say that's a benefit. Some would say that's, not really a benefit. But ultimately, Harvey Dent, Tangent Superman from Earth 9, ultimately, he can do anything that he wants to do. He can change his body into pure energy, evolve his body. He can just do whatever his mind desires. And on top of that, there is no limit to the amount of power he can siphon from other people. He can siphon Superman's powers, Green Lantern abilities. He can siphon people's life force. He was able to stop Superman's heart. He can do just about any and everything that he can possibly think about. And in no logical way can I think of, a way to defeat him. Now, ultimately, the best bet would be to try and see if you can catch him during an incubation period in which he is modifying his body. But even then, that's kind of a 50-50, not even a 50-50 shot. It's kind of a dangerous situation, because if you look in the comic book of Tangent Superman, you can actually look that up, Tangent Superman, I think it's on Read Comics. Ultimately, he still is conscious when he's modifying his own DNA. It doesn't cause him pain, at least not that we know of. He can literally do anything. He's modifying himself awake. He can still function while he's awake, still do things, still access his other abilities while he's awake. So this is just, this is just ridiculous. But this version of Superman ended up taking over Earth 9 because initially he thought his wife died, and in reality he got really vengeful, really upset about that whole situation. So even though he didn't necessarily become, I guess, a true villain, he became this kind of ruler of Earth 9. In his mind, he felt like he was doing some good by taking over the Earth, preventing crime, even though mostly he was just heartbroken. So it was just out of control. I'm just besides the fact that his history, his abilities, and how he came to the Earth, in reality there's no real conceivable way of defeating him, because at some point he doesn't really age normally, and the more time you give him, the more he can just evolve and change his own molecular structure, and then allow himself to change other molecular structures. And he has been able to transmute items, so meaning he does have some sort of matter manipulation to some degree under his belt. It's just wow. This version of Superman is out of control. But I'm not gonna drag out this video because this is just someone who's so powerful. I think for me personally, I never really believed in kind of having a hard time writing powerful characters and stuff like that. But in his particular case, besides his origin and how he got to the point that he is in the present, writing a story about him would be difficult because he literally can get any power he wants to at will. And that is, I guess, completely not fair. So far, he is one of the most, if not the most powerful black supervillain to ever kind of exist in DC Comics. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about this character. Let me know if you want to know any more villains who are powerful, who are black. And if you're new to the channel, please be sure to like, share, and of course subscribe. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you're feeling. And I hope to see you later on. Peace out.